It's even harder not to be effusive when praising this guy because, let's face it, he's the best quarterback of all time, but he's just kind of probably still wearing Skechers. I didn't see his feet.
I got
Still wearing the Skechers. Joe Montana. What's happening, Joe? How are you?
I don't know, but how could you not love Steph Curry?
He's the man.
Oh, my God.
Good time out there. Really, everybody except your 49ers.
You're still out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So do you get to any of those games?
Actually going, well, if they win one more, we're going to go to the first game of the next series.
I went to my first game at the Super Bowl. I went to that game against OKC, and that arena, it's a crap hole, but the arena was electric, man.
Oh, I'm telling you.
You don't know how good they are until you actually see them play in person.
And, you know, it's fun. I mean, and even when you take Steph out of the mix, they're still so fun to watch, you know, and obviously he brings a different element back to the game.
Yeah,
he went on fire the other night, man. And in the overtime, you could see he was uncomfortable in the beginning a little bit, but then all of a sudden we start watching him dribble towards in there. Oh, it's fun.
I got to tell you, Joe, I mean, things are good in the Bay Area. The Warriors trying to make it back-to-back. The Giants have 3 championships in the last 6 years. You know, obviously the Raiders are everybody but your Niners. Let's get your Niners.
Hey, they got to close a couple years ago.
I'm talking about now. Yeah. What's going on with your Niners, Joe? Come on.
They're rebuilding. Isn't that the word they use? Rebuilding.
There's no time for rebuilding when you're an all-time great team.
I know.
Do you worry about kind of the situation it feels to be developing there? You know, it's like dysfunction in the front office. That may or may not be true. Can't get the right players, guys retiring, you know, injuries, things of that nature. Are you worried about the 49ers?
Well, you know, when things go wrong, you know, they say when it's going well, it starts at the top. Well, when it goes wrong, it starts up there too, right?
That's true.
So I just can't blame it all on the players. I think there is some differences up there in the front office, but you know, you just got to go as a player. You know, you got a new head coach. You know, could revive some people in that style of offense, but that guy may not want to even be there. So no one can figure that part out. I think that's a difficult assessment to make, whether your quarterback wants to be there or not.
That's usually a pretty good starting point for an NFL team. If your quarterback's not happy, then things usually go awry. And you know, it's a strange dynamic because it went from here to here, from high to low quick. And, you know, I don't know if Chip Kelly's the right guy. I don't know if Kaepernick is the right guy. But one thing I know, a basic philosophy pertaining to just a normal business or sport, if a guy doesn't want to be there, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like they're holding on to Kaepernick. I don't know why. You live there. What's the story? I mean, just cut ties and move on.
I don't know whether that. I mean, they should never assume. But I mean, you can only think that they were trying to trade him, and you know, with his salary at that point in time, I'm sure he didn't want. If I'm him, I'm sitting there going, "Well, why would I go somewhere else? You're going to have to pay me. If I could go somewhere else, I'm going to have to take half of that." At least for another year, and until someone steps up to the table. And I'm not sure that's going to happen. But I'm with you. If he doesn't want to be there, you certainly don't want that in your locker room, because the person you want and need to talk to, especially offensively, is the quarterback. Because you know, when things go wrong on the line, when they outside, you have to have communication with the receivers. And if no one can trust you, it's hard for anybody to step up and even try to regain that again.
You know, Joe, I'm not sure how much you're around the team, but I'm trying to parallel what it was like for you when you were building those great 49ers teams, because you didn't have this, right? It's not like I want to go somewhere else. You got drafted, you played forever, you played for, right? And you built the team, you built chemistry and all those things. But nowadays, it feels like athletes have become prima donna-ish, right? They want it exactly their way as opposed to fighting through some of the hard things. How do you fight through that? I mean, how do the 49ers fight through that?
Well, as soon as you start entitling guys, you run into problems with them, right? And that's where, you know, not just at the 49ers, when you talk around the whole league, as you were describing, and that's what starts to happen. Now, these guys are making a heck of a lot more money.
Ton of money.
And then, you know, we never had guaranteed contracts, so you really couldn't be like that, because they get rid of you in a heartbeat. Now they get rid of you, they got to pay you $20, $30 million to go out the door. And so I think that changes the dynamics a little bit. I love the guaranteed contracts for the guys. I wish we would have had the same type of thing. But, in a way, it does change it, especially at the numbers that they're talking about.
Talking to the great Joe Montana, nice enough to stop by our studio. Tiki and Tierney show here on CBS Sports Radio. I remember when Jared Goff signed with Cal and the hype that was around the signing, and he obviously parlayed that into the first overall pick. Dissect his game. I mean, we know what he does well. What do you think he needs to improve upon to be a true franchise superstar?
I've only seen a few games.
Mm-hmm.
I try to catch, as much as you could, but I was usually watching Notre Dame.
If you didn't say that, Joe, we would have had a problem. That boy, it's the right answer, by the way. Yeah.
But hey,
did you watch when they beat Tiki's Cavs in the last minute? Did you see that play? Oh yeah, I was watching that.
Stop.
Little 60-yard bomb to Fuller, lights out.
Backup quarterback. Freshman, too.
Yeah.
But I think the transition for those guys is patience. Everybody wants to get in and play right away. And I think there's somewhat of a benefit to sit back and watch and get put into certain situations and get acclimated to the game, because it is a lot different than it is in college. The teams are a lot better. Obviously, the competition's a lot better. The defenses are so different, though. And the things that he'll do and they'll see in the NFL now are crazy. They're unsound in a lot of ways, but they feel that the only way to be a good offense is you got to get to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you can't hit him as soon as he's anywhere near throwing the ball anymore.
Yeah, it's a totally different game.
Yeah, you have to try to, and I think that's probably the biggest thing for him. The adjustment for him is trying to figure out what those defenses look like and the changes. And he obviously spends a lot of time watching video, which they film, but that's no longer there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
now it's on an iPad.
Yeah.
Joe, I know you got to run, but I got to throw this by. I'm going to ask you to do something that's very hard for you. I'm going to ask you to check your humility at the door for a moment, because we all know you're incredibly humble and gracious. And anybody who's watched football, I mean, at least for the two men sitting in this room, you are the best quarterback of all time. So in the mind of Joe Montana, who's number two? And I say to check the humility because I need you to assume that you are number one, which you are. Who's number two on your list?
It's so hard.
Come on.
No, honestly, I mean, think about it. Go back, and if you haven't seen Sammy Baugh and Otto Graham play.
Yeah, but I didn't
But
see
no,
them.
no,
You know, I didn't see them.
No, you didn't see him. But what I'm saying is, go back and watch the video of them or film, because they're so far ahead of their time back then that I didn't realize it. I was up for an award with Otto Graham, and I came out the door at the same time he came out his door. My wife was with me, and he said, "Oh shoot!" And he forgot something and went back in the door. And she said, "Who's that?" Because he said hi, and I said, and I was about to introduce her, and he goes, "Well, who was that?" And she goes, "That's the guy who's going to win tonight," and he did. But it's just amazing how much the game has changed. So I think it's really hard to even compare guys that played when I played to guys that play now, because I won't say it's 7-on-7 to a lot of ways, but the feeling from a quarterback is different. If you're right there and I'm letting the ball go, I know you're still going to hit me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
And that was a big separator. Now that isn't there anywhere near as much, and I can't imagine. Guys
I'm still waiting for a name, by the way, Joe.
No, I know. But I can't imagine guys like Dan Marino.
Oh my
playing
God.
in an era where he knew he wasn't going to get hit.
Yeah, I always bring up Dan. For some reason, he gets
Oh, my
overlooked,
God.
which is
Yeah.
pathetic.
Yeah, no, but the context of what you're talking about, if Dan could stand there and know he's not going to get hit, he would have. I mean, think about how great he would have been.
He already
I mean, I
was. That's almost every
personally
record.
saw guys
Or did.
because they got hit, like Danny Cannell. He just became gun shy.
Yeah.
Good quarterback in college, but once he got in the league, he got hit so many times. He was just afraid to be the quarterback.
Yeah. And I think that makes a difference. And that's
Huge difference.
That's why I say you go back and watch those guys.
Yep.
And you go back even to Unitas and Namath and watch some of the hits those guys are going through,
Right.
even before my time.
Tarkenton in the 70s, sure.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, it's
I got you.
crazy. The stuff. And for them to get back up and stand in that pocket again.
Yeah.
The big health issue we talk about with football these days is concussions. But tell us your connection with heart disease. I know you were the campaign here. Break away from heartdisease.com.
Yeah, we teamed up with Amgen and American Heart Association and Schwinn. in a program that they have to bring out awareness for heart disease. I was diagnosed with high blood pressure and cholesterol a number of years ago. My family, I have a history on my side of early heart attacks, and on my mom's side, my wife his father passed away at 60 from a heart disease. It's really something that can be monitored and corrected to a certain degree by just knowing that you have the symptoms, or you have some of it's congenital. They have no idea why I have high blood pressure, but they think it's congenital, but they're not sure. But get out, go to our website and see. There are tabs on there for events coming up on indoor and outdoor cycling events. You can if you can't be a part of those events as they come around to your cities, you can upload photographs to the website or to the social media sites on there that will put you in a drawing to win two Schwinn bicycles.
Oh, nice.
And then also everyone who uploads a photograph, that kicks off a $1 donation to the American Heart Association. Not by the person who's uploading the photo, but there's people donating
Gotcha.
to the Heart Association. So and that's been a big part of us. We're happy to be a part of the program. You know, we try to get our kids involved early so they understand because of our risk, they have the risk. Especially one of our sons, we keep saying, because he doesn't like anything green or anything that swims, right? So
well, he's got to like money. I mean, money's great. You know, Dad's got a few bucks.
He likes that part, but
the things that you can eat. He wants meat, right?
Yeah.
Joe, we can do this all day. It's an honor. You know, we get a chance to interview just about everybody on this show, and to say, you know, that Joe Montana rolled into our studio, it's a highlight for us. It's great to see you again. Thank you, Joe.
Good seeing you guys.
Appreciate you, Joe. The website is www.breakawayfromheartdisease.com.
That's the great Joe Montana, the best of all time.